Hey love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host Jago, health and lifestyle coach and not so regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. All right, just FYI, parental advisory. This is literally just an advisory for my parents. LOL. Don't listen to this unless you want TMI about your daughter's sex life, because I'm about to get real, confidently uncomfortable. I'm not sure how uncomfortable I want to get with my parents or my in-laws, so luckily they're going to skip this one, hopefully, but you guys definitely should not. So yeah, let's talk about sex, baby. We're definitely going to be diving in to self-confidence in the bedroom. And here's the thing. For so long, I felt weird talking about sex. I felt weird talking about intimacy. I felt like those things you just don't talk about. And I know that there's a deeper meaning behind that. It has to do with the way you're raised. And that was just something where you don't talk about it. But I think that is a huge reason why so many relationships can really go undone. And I'm a product of divorce, so I'm definitely going to just talk about it. Communication is key. And so let's get real. For women and men, honestly, men too, I've talked to my husband about this. Sex is more than just sex. I mean, sex is great, but it's oftentimes so much bigger than just sex, especially when you're in a committed relationship. When you're wanting to continue to strengthen intimacy in your relationship and connect with your partner, it goes beyond the bedroom. So I really want to back up before we get into that. I want to back it up first and talk about just self-confidence in general and the effect it has on your relationships, because it is so easy to lose sight of yourself when you are constantly a people pleaser. So this goes beyond just relationships. Don't worry, we're going to dive back into that soon. But if you're constantly trying to just please other people and not think about yourself and what you want and what you need, it's just going to create either anger towards those people, or it's going to make you feel like you aren't strong and confident and you don't have a voice or a say in the situation. And you always have a say in the situation. So if you haven't straight up talked about sex to your partner and been open and honest about the expectations, that's with whoever you're having sex with. But for me, my committed relationship, my husband, you have to do that. You absolutely need to talk about it. And it might feel weird at first, but that's where being confidently uncomfortable comes in. If you don't open up and create an honest line of communication about your desires, your needs, as well as theirs too, it's always going to feel like there's a disconnect or something just doesn't fit right. No pun intended. But that's really the missing link. You have got to figure out what you want and what turns you on, and what you will always get caught up in your own head instead of in the bed if you're not able to figure out what it is that you want, what it is that you need. And this goes beyond sex. So let's back it up again. Self-confidence, it impacts your relationships. Like I said, if we're constantly catering to others, we can quickly lose ourselves. If you only get your confidence from other people, you will always be disappointed. Because if you're always looking to get it from other people, people disappoint. That's just the way it is. And I personally struggled with that for a really long time. Like in relationships, I was a people pleaser. I just wanted to make sure everyone was happy. I didn't want to rock the boat too much. And that is just a ticking time bomb. If you feel like you're constantly just walking on eggshells in a relationship, you are going to sink at some point. And that is something that I had to figure out for myself. I was constantly trying to get all of my self-confidence from my partner. Me and Tommy have been together for a really long time. And when I was younger, that is like, I was always seeking him for like that perfect everything. It's like I just expected perfection out of like, well, let's think the movies I saw. And that's the only like positive relationship I could relate to, because I was divorced. I had divorced parents. So I wasn't looking at other things. I was only looking at what I saw in the movies. And the thing is if you're expecting that perfection and you're expecting that things like, oh, they're just supposed to know that this is what I want. They're just supposed to know what to get me for my birthday. They're just supposed to know that I want this kind of date. Like, that's not real life. And real life is communicating what you want and being real and being honest. And it just feels so much better when you do that. Again, when I was younger, I wouldn't have a voice. I wouldn't have an opinion because I truly thought that the girl was just supposed to be like, oh, I don't care. We can eat wherever you want to eat, and just be basically a wet towel. And once I stopped doing that, and it really came from finding strength and self-confidence in the gym, and then in my own achievements. And then that just really bled out into my relationships too, in a really good way, to where I was confident enough to realize, oh, this is what I want. This is what I need. And this is how I'm going to communicate it to you. And with Tom, at the point when I was younger, I was treating him I was expecting this perfection, godlike person. Because to me, he was amazing and he is amazing. But if all I cared about was his approval in all aspects, that just doesn't work. Honestly, if you try to hold a human up to a perfect godlike rom-com standards, you will always question the relationship. You will always think that, maybe something's better out there. Maybe I should be with this other person. And don't blame yourself for thinking those thoughts, but you need to look deeper and think, am I really communicating? How do I expect that other person to be psychic about what I want? And so that starts with your confidence in yourself and being able to speak up for what you want. So if you feel like in other relationships you're constantly catering to others, I really want you to take a step back and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I need? What are my expectations? And once I started taking ownership of my own thoughts and stepping into my confidence, our relationship grew stronger than I ever thought possible. It absolutely changed every single aspect of our relationship. Don't worry, we'll go back to the bedroom later, but our connection was so much better on a deeper level because I was able to communicate how I was feeling without thinking that, oh, well, what if he doesn't like this? What if he doesn't like that? No, I'm able to be 100% honest and upfront with him. And the thing is those relationships, those close people that you're closest with, you should feel like you can be 100% honest and vulnerable with them. And I'm finding that the more I do that with all of my relationships, those real connections are the ones that stick and the ones that stay. And it only builds my confidence more because I'm realizing I surround myself with people that hear me and see me and understand where I'm coming from. And if you're struggling to love yourself, you are not going to find it in another person. It's just not going to happen. I thought that for so long. And the reason that I was always questioning when I was younger, our relationship, me and my husband have been together for a decade. So our relationship, I was questioning it, and it had nothing to do with him. It was me. I never felt good enough. I never felt like I was doing everything I needed to do. I always questioned everything. Anytime something went wrong, even when things wouldn't go wrong, I would question that. I was freaking crazy. And it had to do with me not feeling confident in myself. It had to do with my past narratives of men that had left me before. And I was projecting that into my relationship instead of communicating it and being upfront and facing it. And it's scary because a lot of times we can hide our problems in a relationship, but here's the thing, they get projected and that shit blows up real fast. So instead of starting off a relationship where you're hiding all the things that you're coming from, I really want to challenge you to be honest and upfront and be like, listen, this is where my head's at. It's not your fault. I'm not trying to project it on you, but I am working on me right now, and I want you to be there and support me, but I can't lean on you completely. And I had to do that with Tom because I was working on loving myself, loving how I saw myself. And until I got to that point, now it is amazing because I can communicate what I want. I feel so good in my own skin, but it did not feel like that for a long time. And I've talked to so many clients who feel the same way, where when they're not feeling good in their own skin, it really, really disrupts their time with intimacy, their time in the bedroom, sex life. All of that just gets really skewed because they're not able to be present. They're not able to feel good in their own skin. And it hurts me because You deserve to have that connection. You deserve to feel so damn good. You deserve to feel like a queen and feel like, holy crap, I am amazing. And that is a huge part of intimacy, is loving yourself. And back to the bedroom, we can jump back in there. If you find yourself feeling super awkward during that time when it should be amazing, I want to help you with that. If you're super uncomfortable communicating what you need for a love connection, you got to first just have that conversation with yourself. If you're not really comfortable having it with your partner yet, that's fine. Wait on that, but start with you. What is it that you want? So whether it's when do you when do you enjoy having that kind of relationship? Is it in the morning, in the afternoon, at night? We'll talk about that more later. How often is there that expectation to have sex or just have any kind of intimate connection? Date nights, one-on-one time, like group versus like going out in groups all the time. Like, it's crazy. You might not realize it. Even if you're living with your partner, you could go a whole day just completely missing each other with crazy schedules, and take a time and ask yourself, like, have I even like physically touched this person? Have I sat next to them? Have we connected and asked each other how our day was? Because sometimes those missing links are what's keeping you from connecting in the bedroom. And listen, I'm not like, I can't remember that doctor, like this like German doctor who talks about sex all the time. I'm not a sex therapist, and I'm not trying to say that I'm a master, but I can tell you that the growth that I've had in my relationship and the way that it's been like continuing to just grow and become the most amazing thing ever, it had to do so much with the communication aspect more than anything. So again, ask yourself first those questions, figure those things out. And then when you're ready, have that conversation with your partner. Talk to them, because they might be feeling the exact same way and you would never know it. Or they might be so focused on their, like, the moment that they're not thinking the things you're thinking. So I've talked to so many clients that are struggling because when they're in the bedroom, their head is not there. They're not with it because they're thinking, oh, does he think I look good? Like, oh, I hate when I move this way. Oh, my skin's folding, or I'm like, they don't even want to have sex with the lights on. And here's the thing. You're in the bedroom. He wants to see you completely naked. Turn the damn lights on and embrace it, and try and really focus on being present. So here are some just small steps that can help you when you're trying to have that self-confidence in the bedroom. And these are 6 steps that really work for me. And just being honest about, it's different for every single person, but I have to be feeling myself, or it is just not going to be fun and not going to be a love connection. And I want that connection because it is the most amazing thing. It can be so healing and beautiful for your relationship if you can continue to do that. So something that I do really well with is if I get a workout in that day, it makes a huge difference in your hormone levels. They're different. You're feeling yourself more. Those endorphins are good. So highly recommend getting in a workout that day. It doesn't have to be like right before or anything, but obviously giving yourself that space is perfect. Figuring out the time when you are feeling your best. So some people, honestly, like after Chipotle late night, like, you got a food baby. You might not want to do anything physical, and that's okay. But know yourself and also be honest with that. You can be like super honest with your partner and be like, listen, nothing's happening tonight. I love you. And then you can joke about planning on it in the morning or something, but figure out what time is best for you. For me, listen, if you haven't tried morning sex, highly recommend. It is actually scientifically proven. Women especially, our hormones are highest then. So our libido, our sex drive is highest then. Same with men too. So if you can do that in the morning, if your schedule allows it, do it. Guess what? You can wake up a little bit earlier before your alarm. Have fun with that. Do with it what you will. But yeah, just figuring that out and also communicating it, because that could be different from your partner. Like, they could be on the opposite side of things. Also communicating like how often. So you can go into a relationship, and this is the truth, and I've talked to many women about this. Sometimes women are wanting to have sex more often than men. It's just the way it is sometimes. And then they feel ashamed about it, and you absolutely should not feel ashamed about it. You just got to figure out how often you want to have sex with your partner, and get on the same page with that. And then you can, match it however you want to. So figuring out the time and then how often is super important. So that if you are really trying to get a workout in, like I said, that really helps. Getting dressed up for yourself, listen, you don't have to be a super lingerie person, that's fine. But if you want to make sure that if you feel better, let's say after you take a nice bath or after you shower, or if you really like having sex in the shower, whatever it is, figure it out. Just ask yourself that, communicate that with your partner. Like, that's so important. But getting dressed up for yourself just so you feel good. You don't have to put on makeup before you go to sleep, but like whatever makes you feel good, if it's a specific perfume, if it's an outfit, if it's a robe, anything, just figure out what it is and talk to your partner too. There might be something that they like to see you in or not see you in. So I think as long as you're feeling yourself, that's the first and foremost important part, but then that communication can be a big part of it too. The other thing that can be really helpful if you're like most women and you can't just turn it on, like snap, like boom, let's go. You might need a little bit more time. Communicate that with your partner. It might involve foreplay. It definitely should involve foreplay. But also, like, if you can't have sex at the time that you want to, maybe flirt about it and make plans for another time, like a date night that you know is going to end up in the bedroom having a good time. And that can kind of get you excited throughout the day, you're looking forward to it, you're joking about it, you're flirting about it, whatever. There's really no wrong way to do that, but sometimes mentally it's giving you more time and it's reminding you to communicate, and it's just a really good way to create that connection without feeling like you have to boom, turn it on very quickly. However, there's nothing wrong with a quickie now and again. I just wanted to put that out there. Sorry, Mom, I doubt you're listening to this. I really hope you've turned it off by now, but it's true. But obviously you need to be feeling yourself, so do the things that really make you feel best. The other thing that I can't stress enough is focus on being present instead of questioning how your body looks if they're attracted to you. So if there's certain things that you need to make you feel more confident in your skin, then do that. Communicate with your husband or partner or whatever that what you kind of need as far as feeling good about yourself, as far as positive affirmations. It could be that you're more of a words of affirmation person. So if you want to hear that they love you or hear how they see your body, or it could be physical touch. It could be a lot of different things. Figuring out how you give and receive love and how your partner gives and receives love is huge. And it's going to help you be more present and in the moment because you've discussed that previously. So if you feel like your head is always elsewhere, I would really be honest with yourself first and then with your partner that you need more time so that your head is not just like in the clouds thinking about what happened at work and how stressed you are, because it is so easy to bring that home. But giving yourself some time to wind down and decompress from that day before you're starting it, like in the bedroom, like I highly recommend that. So do not bring work in the bedroom. If you can keep your phone out of the bedroom, hell yeah, that is a game changer with your sex life. Because how many times are you sitting in bed and you're both on your phones, not doing anything when you could be communicating with each other? Again, intimacy doesn't necessarily mean sex, but that time of day where you're just together and you're in bed is so sacred. And that needs to be communicated if you feel like you have gone a long time to where you're just kind of, phone zombies, because that is not healthy for any relationship. And yes, you can skirt by for years and years and just kind of like go through the motions, but that's not fun. You got into this relationship for a reason and you want to be connected, and you've had that connection before, but you have got to continue to work on it to keep it. And I have figured that out in my 10 years of dating and my 1 year of marriage, and I'm continuing to figure things out and be open to it. But communication beats all. Like, that is the biggest thing for having a real concrete connection with your partner. Confidence is huge too, though. I can't stress that enough. I'll do a whole nother thing about confidence if you guys want, but if you are struggling to love the body you're in now, you're not going to be happy when you lose the weight. Don't hold off on doing certain things or buying certain lingerie or being goofy or trying something exciting with your partner until you've lost certain weight or until you've gotten back into a certain size. Like, that is not how you should live your life, just waiting for until then, or I'll wait until, I won't do this until. You need to really start now and get excited about it and fall in love with each other, because that's unconditional love. It's not about what size you are, what shape you are. Like, yes, like getting more physically fit and healthy will help your sex life, but there's still the connection there that you need to have. So if you're working towards it now while you're continuing to work on yourself, it is going to be life-changing for both of you. Also, finally, don't be afraid to be cocky. Remind yourself, like, damn, they are lucky to have me. And so am I. I'm happy too. I'm lucky too. But like, be cocky. Like, wow, like, feel good about yourself. And obviously, every day is going to be different because you're coming home with different stress from work or from school or from kids or whatever that is. But if you get better at releasing that stress and decompressing before you're like getting more physical with your partner at night, or just having some time where it's just you and your partner just together, just hanging out, like, it's going to make a very big difference. So if these helped you, let me know. I'm super curious because I think that this is not talked about enough. I think that women especially, I feel like we're taught not to talk about sex. It's so funny. It's like we're not supposed to have a sex drive, but then you're also a prude if you don't have sex. So it's like you can't win as a woman for so many reasons. So why try? I'd rather you just try and love yourself and figure out what works best for you than feeling like you have to measure up to some certain standard. Everyone's different. I just think that regardless of what it is, it's not like you have to fit a certain mold of like what is the right amount of sex or what is the best way to connect with a partner. But communicating is what you need, because if you don't talk about it, you'll never know. You'll never know what is missing. You'll never know what it is the other person wants, and you'll never know what it is that you want. You'll be surprised when you start having this conversation, the feelings, emotions, and even words that come out as you're discussing it. So I highly recommend it if you haven't already. Like, let's just turn on that song when your husband or partner gets home. Like, let's talk about sex, baby. And just really like joke about it. But then seriously, like, let's talk about sex because this needs to happen. We need to be really upfront with each other. So if you feel like you've been kind of in a lull or struggling, like, communicate first. And then there's also ways to go beyond that as far as like counseling and sex therapists and all those fun things, which again, I'm not claiming to be, but these are things that really worked for me. And I am so much more confident in all aspects of my life, but especially in the bedroom, and you should be too. So I would love for you to share your steps. I'd love to hear your thoughts on self-confidence and the bedroom. So if you agree and you feel like self-confidence in the bedroom play a huge part with your relationships, I would love to hear it. If you have any tips for how you've gotten more confident with your partner and with intimate situations, let me know. If you have any other thoughts about sex, let me know. And feel free to review this. Obviously, I'm going to ask you later to do a 5-star review, but I really want to know, like, feel free to message me on Instagram at JagoFitLife. Tell me your thoughts. Screenshot this episode if you're ready to be confidently uncomfortable and share it with some people who need to hear it. And be sure to tag me at JagoFitLife or at confidentlyuncomfortable_Jago, which is my podcast Instagram. But you guys have been a pleasure to hang with, no pun intended. But seriously, we should talk about sex more. I think it's super important. And this is the first time I've talked about it to you guys. So feel free to let me know what you think and I'll jump on more. Maybe I'll even bring Tom up here to talk more about it, but this closet's pretty small, so we'll see. All right, y'all, have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here and honestly don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at JagoFitLife. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jagofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.